And I think we are live. So if you are just starting us off, I just kind of wanted to do a live chat tonight because there's a lot of stuff I kind of wanted to talk about. So figured I would just go ahead and do a live stream. A lot of interesting stuff. If you've been keeping up, recently did like an Armada predictions thread, and like the number one thing that's like, you know, number one is the Superstar Destroyer, but you know, this is funny because every time it gets brought up, it's the exact same stuff. People are always like, no, 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 no. And then everybody else is like, yes, yes, yes. So people are kind of divided. But I think there's a lot of ways. And that's kind of one of the things I talk about in there is specifically what, you know, what they should do and how they could, and different ways that they could do it. Another big news, there was a big kind of a X-Wing 2.0 core set unboxing that was published today, and you know, that was really big news. And I don't know if you can, you know, I don't know if you can see anything in the shot, but I'm not sure what happened, but apparently that should not have happened. I'm not sure, but I am led to believe that that was done way too soon. And yeah, I think I believe it was done way too soon. And that's a shame because I was looking forward to doing some X-Wing 2.0 videos as well. And you know, I cannot at this time. So what I can tell you though is if you are in Florida, in Orlando, make sure you come to Dice Tower Con next week, July 4th through the 8th weekend. It's gonna be a blast, and we are gonna have X-Wing 2.0. So I keep pointing. So I have demo kits for X-Wing 2.0, which we will have at the con. We'll have those at Dice Tower. So it's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be a good time, and we are gonna play some games. And you can, if you're gonna be at Dice Tower Con, you can come in and get some games played. Wave 14 is out right now. I mean, some of us that are gonna be demoing X-Wing 2.0 may have some of our Wave 14 stuff on hand also. So if you are looking to try to see some of those interactions on how, you know, the new U-Wing and you know, and all the new Wave 14 stuff works in 2.0 with the core set, then that'll be something that maybe we can try to swing. You know, or if you want to bring your Wave 14 stuff and throw it down on the table, we're going to try to have a pretty good presence for X-Wing 2.0. So so yeah, I just wanted to kind of start off kind of talking about that. To me, it's kind of like the elephant in the room when somebody kind of because, you know, I had gotten a review copy for Armada Wave 7 a few months ago, and there was, and it was great, but it was a total surprise. It seemed like it was way early. It seemed like it was at least a month before we would have seen like the first leaks, and so I was kind of blown away, and I felt like really privileged and really honored. And again, FFG, if you're watching, thank you very much. It was a fantastic opportunity. To do like this early unboxing review, and we did everything. You know, I did unboxings, reviews, we did battle reports, multiple battle reports, so you could see this stuff in action. So I was really trying to build the hype up, and it's my privilege to support these games because I genuinely love these games. That's why I do this. Like, honestly, I work on this stuff. I have a normal job, right? And I come home from work and I try to spend time with the family, and as soon as like the kids go to bed, which they're just not going to bed, I sit down and I'm reading and I'm sending emails and I'm researching and I'm looking up and I'm building lists, and you know, like once or twice a week I actually get to maybe go play, you know, and I try to make bat reps out of those, and then I edit video in all my spare time, and I don't even get to bed before midnight. So and I do this out of love. Because I genuinely love it, and that's the truth. Before I started playing X-Wing, I really didn't go out and socialize much. So it was just video games, and that wasn't enough for me. And so I'm probably a little depressed. And, well, more than a little depressed. I was kind of a miserable person. So, like, to me, these games, these Star Wars games, these FFG tabletop games, and board games in general, but primarily X-Wing, and then from X-Wing, then Armada and Imperial Assault and Legion, and even Destiny, and all of these games helped pull me out of a darker time in my life. So, I love these games. That's genuine. That being said, you know, it was amazing to get an early demo opportunity. Was kind of hoping that, you know, be able to do that with this, but it looks like the best we'll be able to do is if you're at Dice Tower Con, come on by. We have a lot of other games that we're going to have too. Some of them are early. I think we're going to have Heroes of Terranoth, and so that's another thing we can talk about. And I'm going to start answering questions here in a minute, but Terranoth will probably be there. Starship Samurai, if you've seen my how to play on that should be there. That's a fun game, and you can come in and we have a whole room. You can come in the Asmodee room and just sit down and play, man. That's gonna be great. So let's go to some of these questions here. We've got a couple of them. Do I think you can see the Sentinel class shuttle in X-Wing 2.0? Well, maybe. I mean, anything goes, right? Well, one of the things I think they're gonna do is spend some time in 2.0, I think they're going to spend a lot of time, and I'm actually looking up Sentinel class shuttle right now because it's off the name. Oh, that's that Lambda looking thing. So I don't know. I don't think we're going to see the Sentinel class shuttle in X-Wing 2.0. It's possible, but I think if we're going to get another shuttle, I think it'll be Krennic's shuttle. I say that just because the Sentinel class shuttle is ugly. It's too much like the Lambda, and at least Krennic's shuttle looks way different than the Lambda. And Krennic's shuttle's from more of a recent movie, so they're more likely to want to promote that. And for the longest time I was saying no more shuttles because we had the Upsilon and the Lambda, and we didn't end also between that and the Decimator, you know, we really didn't need, I mean, we didn't even need the Upsilon. But since the Upsilon is going into its, you know, into the First Order faction, I think it opens the door for maybe another shuttle, but again, I just don't know. I mean, maybe if there's some type of new type of upgrade type card and it could equip that, but it's a dogfighting game. And I think you'd be scraping the bottom of the barrel before you put like something like the Sentinel class in. Just a cargo kind of shuttle. I don't know. But maybe the Sentinel class shuttle has some defensive capabilities that I'm just not aware of. But you always just see it used as like a transport, or not really, you know, not really anything. Like even the Lambda is kind of lame, but it serves a purpose as like, you know, just to carry crew, you know. Question about Legion from AJ Stripchen. Any news or rumors for an AT-AT for Legion? No news about an AT-AT for Legion. Rumors, I mean, every day I think there's all kinds of new rumors. I would love that. So I remember when Legion was announced, I was actually I think I was in Kansas City. I was traveling for work. And when I saw that they were making a tabletop game, my very first thought was AT-ATs, because that's the one thing you couldn't do in like the most iconic thing in Star Wars that's not represented in the tabletop games right now. The first one is the AT-AT, and the second one is probably the Executor. That being said, the AT-AT is not in any of their war games right now. Like, you do have AT-ATs in Rebellion. Drinking some water because I'm thirsty. Well, you do have AT-ATs in Rebellion, but really Rebellion's more of a, you know, like, you don't get that feel. And I really want a game where I have that feel of marching AT-ATs down the field. That, to me, is awesome. And the system for Armada gives me a similar feel, but with Star Destroyers. Like, I love the idea of flying my ships and, you know, flying them into contact and flying in formation and planning who's going to shoot who. Like, it's brilliant. So I really like that. So big fan of that system. And so when I announced Legion, that was the first thing I thought. I'm like, finally, because there's a scale that I think is needed in Star Wars, and it's that massive ground battle scale. and I'm absolutely, well, not absolutely. At the time, for a while, I was absolutely blown away that they announced that Legion was in the scale that it was in. I'm like, wait a second, it's the opposite direction. That their minis are actually bigger than an Imperial Assault. I thought they should have been like really, really tiny minis. This way, you could have AT-ATs and not even have AT-ATs as the biggest unit, because you had these Guerrilla Walkers in The Last Jedi, which were like twice as big as AT-ATs. So I think if you're going to make a game like that, you need to think, what's the biggest unit we would ever want to do, and make that, you know, big enough that it can work, and then scale down from there. And it can be a little bit of a sliding scale. That's fine. But, you know, so your infantry should have been like super tiny, you know, or maybe even cardboard, you know, or maybe like a miniature that's like a whole group of infantry and not just one individual dude or lady. That's kind of how I would have wanted a Star Wars tabletop war game to go. That's not what happened. I mean, granted, I'm okay with it because Legion is awesome. And I understand why. I think Legion was put out there to compete with 40K as opposed to just being its own thing, because it's in like the same scale as 40K, and it uses the same terrain as 40K, although it plays on a 3x6 instead of a 4x6, although the epic play can be on a 4x6. Anyway, I'm elaborating a whole lot, but yes, my point is I do think that an AT-AT is kind of too big, but I also like to think outside of the box. So I like to think that there's ways that they could do an AT-AT. And, wow, what's up with my bandwidth right now? So I don't know what's up with my stream, but it's going lousy. But yes, so I think the AT-AT could totally work. Maybe they'll just do legs, right? Like, one way I envision an AT-AT is kind of like that popcorn bucket that you may have seen at Disney. All four of the legs move differently, and each one would be its own base, so you wouldn't have to move the whole unit. Because I look at my Wizards of the Coast AT-AT, and its base is like this big, and if you even do it at speed 1, you'd move it across the whole map. So I don't really think that it'll be like that. I think if they do something like an AT-AT, it'll be kind of thinking outside of the box. So maybe a stationary unit that doesn't move. I could see maybe something like that. But it's just not the game for an AT-AT, and even though I want one, I just don't see it really fitting into the role of what that game's trying to do. All right, let's get some more questions here. I gotta scroll up. Do I think I would take a heat round to the chest for a too early unboxing? I'll tell you this: I'm not going to burn my bridges with FFG, however fragile they may be. I'm gonna try and see if, I mean, now the thing is, there's this, what I'm doing is I'm at the con. I'm sure, you know, look, if I'm not allowed to make videos, I can't really stop people at a convention from taking video footage, right? Like, and that's so there's something that I don't understand. There's stuff going on, you know, multiple pay grades above me. That want to keep a lot of this under wraps, and okay, I understand. And I think maybe a lot of it is because of the hype factor. I don't think they probably don't want. I think it has something to do with sales, and sales is important. Yeah, a company has to stay in business, and I'm not blaming them for that. But I think if it all gets spoiled way too early, then come September when it's actually supposed to launch, like, you know, will the hype be gone by then? That's, I think, maybe some of the issue. But my question for FFG is, why did you do a battle report with Alex Davey on Team Covenant's channel? Why did you sanction all of that? You know, like, that's what I don't get. Like, if you were trying to preserve the mysterium or the mystique of X-Wing 2.0, why put almost all of it out in public on the first day and then tell everybody else to keep quiet? I feel like I'm missing something. I'm not mad at them because I definitely understand, but it is confusing being, you know, I'm running a demo team for Dice Tower Con, and I'm being told, here, get proficient with the game so you can go teach people and demo it in public, but also make sure nobody knows about the game. I mean, you know, but you can't record any of it, you know, so it's just an awkward position for somebody like me who records things all the time. So I'm, but basically I'm working with FFG, and I've written them, and I've told them, all right, here's my understanding of the situation, got it, and as soon as that changes, let me know, and I'll be happy to cover this game and give you, it's a win-win for me, because that means I get to make videos on X-Wing 2.0, and I get to promote their product, and and everything, honestly, everything about it seems like it's a total improvement. I have one criticism of the game, and that's that they still have those cardboard tokens. Why do you have cardboard inserts? Not tokens, but the cardboard inserts. If you've got to put a little number on each of your guys anyway, there's no reason to have separate cardboard inserts for everybody. Look at what you did with Armada. That was so simple. It was so simple. That's the way to do it. But anyway. All right. Let's see here. What do I think the possibility of a clone droid army factions in Legion in the distant future? I think that's a fantastic option. And I don't even know if it would be distant future. It might be the very next thing. I mean, look at Rune Wars. I'll invite you to look at Rune Wars if you followed Rune Wars at all. And I followed Rune Wars. I actually bought into it. I had a buy at an Armada tournament. And I decided, you know what, I have to sit here for 2.5 hours. So I bought a Rune Wars core set, opened it up, really liked the minis, kind of got excited because I hadn't painted much in a while. So I said, all right, let's dive into Rune Wars. I had a friend who wanted to play also, so that's what it boils down to, is if, like, my friend Sean wanted to play Rune Wars also, so I bought that, we were playing, and I love to dive into a brand new game, especially if I have other people to play with. That's exciting, and that's community, and that's, socializing, and that's awesome. So it's a great experience to play a new game with friends. And Rune Wars was fun, and then, you had 2 factions, and then they quickly announced 2 more factions. So you had lots of factions. And, well, not lots, there's 4. And I think they had the capabilities, I think it was like an open system, like depending on the success of Rune Wars, they could have added more than that. And I don't know how successful it is. I don't really know anybody who's playing, so I would wager that it's not that successful. But, I mean, it's not a terrible game. I just don't like the trays. I don't like the tray system primarily because, like, when you try to take them out, they come apart and things. It's very cumbersome and clumsy, and stuff gets knocked over, and it takes something out of the elegance. I'm going to come back to talking about Rune Wars, though, a little bit later, because I want to talk about that with you guys. But either way, in that system, they had 2 factions. You had a couple of waves of expansions for the first 2 factions, and then they said, all right, boom, here come the other 2, here come the next 2 factions, and here's the primer for them, and then an Essentials kit. So I think Legion is very likely to get more factions. I think that's totally possible. Following the Rune Wars, what they did with Rune Wars, if they do the same thing, then that would probably happen. If not, then maybe not. But I think from a game that you're going to paint, from that type of perspective, there's a ton of options. Look at all your clone troopers, right? Look at all the clone troopers that have, like, your Cody and your Rex and your ARC troopers, and then the red lines. People are begging for clone troopers. People are begging for droid armies. I mean, Mel Miniatures is probably making a killing right now off of all the clones and droids that he's selling. I would totally be down. And Legion is one of those games that's really, really good. And I would be more than happy to have every single faction. Like, I wouldn't be a single faction player. I would play a different army every single game, and a different faction every single game, and I would love it. So I really hope that they do that. And it will have my blessing, absolutely. And the thing is, the more factions you have, you don't have to make them that deep, But you have so much depth already in the Clone Wars. Look at all the different types of battle droids you have. Look at all the different types of clone troopers you have. You have so many heroes. You have Jedi from the Clone Wars. You have all these droids and, like, Sith and, like, Ventress and people like that for the CIS. And Dooku, you can have Force users on both sides. You can have powerful droids. A Grievous miniature in Legion would be phenomenal. I would, look, I had my problems with the prequel trilogy when they came out, but it's grown on me over the years. And from a wargaming perspective, those movies had a lot of gold stuff in them. I loved a lot of the opportunities for wargaming that showed up in the Clone Wars. All right, You guys are really kind too. I'm reading some of these comments. You guys are really nice, so I appreciate the kind words. Let's see. Has anyone else versus the 5 X-Wing spam yet? Because I have, and it's not hard to beat the list. I think you're talking about 1.0 because we really can't play 2.0 yet. No, I have not gone up against 5 X-Wing spam, but I imagine that would be similar to going up against BBBBZ. You know, like we've seen before. It doesn't seem like it would be that hard to beat, but it'd be a boring list, wouldn't it be? Like I'll admit I haven't been playing much X-Wing 1.0 lately. Ever since 2.0 came out, I haven't even really wanted to play X-Wing 1.0. I'm just kind of saving my X-Wing energy for 2.0. So come on out to Dice Tower and check us out. We're also going to be open in the evenings on Friday and Saturday nights doing some themed game nights. So we'll have some history-based games on Friday night and some horror-based games on Saturday night.
History.
Yes. All right, so let's see what else we have going on here. Do I think it's a good time for a new player to get into X-Wing? Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. Here's why it's a good time to get in. Because you're going to have a new core set coming out, so you're going to have to buy a core set anyway. You can probably get 14 waves worth of stuff pretty cheap because you're going to have a lot of people, and I'm probably the type of person who would do this, but I'm more likely to give things away to my friends and stuff than to sell. But you're going to have a lot of people who don't want to buy, so many core sets. So a lot of people are going to sell their extra ships that you can use in a conversion kit, and you can probably get a bulk deal of surplus X-Wing 1.0 stuff really cheap at probably 25% MSRP, because all you're going to be getting is like the ships and the bases for them, right? And then you get a conversion kit for like $45 or so, or about $50. They're $50 MSRP, but a lot of places will have them a little bit cheaper. So you get $50 for a conversion kit and like a super deal on somebody's surplus stuff. And a lot of people have surplus stuff. I'm one of those. I have 7 TIE Advanceds. And there's a reason, there's a long story behind why I have quite that many, so that's kind of my extreme example. But, a lot of people like me are going to have a lot of extra ships that we might, plus if it's a friend of yours, maybe they'll just give you one. Like if you've got, if you've got 4 Y-Wings, maybe I don't really need 4 Y-Wings. I don't want to buy a second Rebel conversion kit just for my other 2 Y-Wings or whatever. So maybe somebody will give you a Y-Wing or 2, and things like that. So it'll be a great opportunity for you to pick a faction, get into it on a budget, and have 14 waves worth of stuff that's also in an all-new game. You're going to have a lot of depth in this brand new gaming experience. And a lot of people will be on an even footing with you because at its core, a lot of the rules stayed the same. At its core, it's still that classic X-Wing experience that people love, but it's got some refreshing new rules, and I think some veteran players will take a little bit of getting used to, but I mean, it's still pretty much the same game. So, I think it's a great time to get into X-Wing, especially if you like the models. And all the new stuff is going to, well, not all the new stuff, but some of the new stuff is going to be remodeled and repainted, and some of these new minis are going to look great. So, like, the new X-Wing looks really cool. Yes, all right. What would you expect a Resistance A-Wing to be like for 2.0? Honestly, I expect a Resistance A-Wing to be almost the same thing as the Rebel A-Wing, but just a little bit more. In the same way that the T-70 is just a little bit better than the T-65. Like maybe 1 extra shield on the Resistance A-Wing. Something very, very much like that. I mean, it could even be identical. I don't think it will be. It'll probably have the tech slot that the Resistance has, right? It might be like 1 more shield and a tech slot, or maybe the same amount, maybe 1 less shield, 1 more hull and a tech slot, or something different. But it'll be very, very close to the existing X-Wing, and because they have new factions now, they don't have to worry about it being too close to the other one. Let's see. How big would the AT-AT have to be? It depends then if they're doing a sliding scale or not, because an AT-AT would have to be so big that it would take up like at least half of the table, or almost half of the table, and that's too big. I would still buy one, and it would be beautiful, and I'd have it in the background. You know, I'd have it out, you know, where I have all my games and everything set up. I would have it out there, but it'd be too big. Yeah, and that would be too big for Legion. Other than the Executor, what would I like to see most added to Armada? The board game captain asks. I will ask you at some point to go ahead and check out my Gen Con predictions thread for Armada. I think I just published that this morning. That was an early access to Patreon subscribers. I put it up to my patrons, and then after a couple of days, I put it out for everybody else. So also, as a quick shameless plug here, I did start a Patreon up just a couple of days ago. So, and I've already got a couple, and I want to thank you guys who are our patrons that are supporting me. I really appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot. There's been a ton of expenses that come into running this channel, whether it comes to lighting, microphones, replacing computers, laptops for when I travel. It's been quite a bit. But like I said, I do it because I love it, and with all the new games coming out, you know, that I have to review, I don't have to review, but all the games coming out, you know, to review, it's a constant expense. So I do appreciate the Patreon subscribers, and that's one of the things I'm doing is putting certain videos up for early access over there. But one of the ones I put up for early access was the Gen Con predictions for Armada, which is now publicly available. It's available for all of you guys, and it's you know, I really want other factions like outside of the Executor. I would really like to see the Starhawk from the Aftermath trilogy. I want to see what it looks like, and I think that would be a good rebel balance to the Executor, because granted, a Starhawk isn't a match for it, but maybe if you fielded several. But also, I would also like to see new factions in Armada, and a cheaper core set like the Essentials box that Rune Wars did. Ronald Kramer, who else would love to see S-foils for B-Wings? This guy. I think that would be a little tricky for them to do, but I am down for them to do it. I would also like to see gyro cockpit rotating for B-Wings, so this way you don't have to mod your own B-Wings to get them to fly sideways. I want B-Wings to be able to actually flip around, like have that little plastic peg go in the back of the cockpit and have the ship rotate around however it wants to rotate. That's what I would really like them to do with B-Wings, and that should be kind of easy. S-foils, as much as I would like that, I would rather, if I had to pick only one mod, I would rather it be the moving cockpit. But if they can do two mods, then that'd be good too. And let's see, Cage or Kage M, do you think the Reaper is a good ship? I think the Reaper is a pretty good ship. I haven't really been able to fly it yet, though. Hopefully that'll change this weekend at Dice Tower Con. Maybe we'll be able to get some Reapers on the board and see how they interact with X-Wings and U-Wings and TIE Fighters. It's got a couple of different roles it can perform, and it's got 3 primary attacks, so it's not bad. But I like that it's got some different stuff. Let's see. How would I see the B-Wing S-foils working? It'd be the same way as X-Wings do. Like, they gain some extra speed, because B-Wings actually are really hurting for speed. B-Wings could gain boost from it, too, maybe? I don't know. It's a possibility. Okay. Do I think swarms will be viable in 2.0? Absolutely. Absolutely, I think they will be viable. I think a TIE swarm... Now, TIEs didn't really get a boost, but one thing that did get a change is the fact that 2 attack dice is a little bit more threatening than 2 attack dice in 1.0. And the reason for stuff like that is that, like, it's sort of just some of the mechanic changes mean that 2 attack dice is more likely to hurt your opponent. And I'll give you 2 examples. Evades now don't just add a result, they change a die to an evade. So if I've only got 3 agility, I can't like take an evade so I can cancel 4 hits, right? Well, unless I'm at range 3. But so your 2 dice, because of that change, are now more likely to get through in some situations. Also, a lot of ships have been changed to have less shields and more hull. So like when you roll a crit on one of those 2, it's more likely to actually cause face-up damage than just impact on shields. So little things like that might make TIE swarms pretty viable. or just not even TIE swarms, just swarms in general, like Z95s or M3A interceptors, or like high ship counts, like 6. If you want to run like 6 ships or something like that, even 5 ship lists, I think we'll be able to do pretty well. Okay. How do I find the difference between X-Wing SAW Renegades and the 2nd edition version? Does the spongy SAW Renegade version get better over time? I don't know what you mean by spongy. The Jason Prince is asking me this. If you want to see both the 1.0 and 2.0, I have unboxings up. Just search for Crabbok X-Wing Wave 14 unboxing. I mean, I published those, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. But I have them for both, and I do the X-Wing 1.0 content and the 2.0 content in the unboxings, and I separate them. So I do one at a time, so you can look at them that way. I mean, in a lot of cases, they're pretty similar. I can't really do too much exposition on them at this time because I haven't gotten to play them yet. But it's, for the most part, like the same spirit behind a lot of them. Let's see. How do I find the difference between Oh, no, that's what I just read. Starhawks are supposed to be about twice the size of an ISD. I don't think Starhawks are actually twice the size of an ISD. From the analysis and everything I've seen, they're not. I think they would be a large ship, but I don't think they're twice the size. What I have read is that, I mean, there's very little information, but that they're made from Imperial ships. Their weapons and stuff are comparable, if not slightly stronger than an ISD's defenses, so they can potentially take an ISD one-on-one, which a lot of other Rebel ships couldn't. But also they have like a 10 times the strength graviton beam, so their tractor beam is incredibly strong, and that's kind of what factors into a lot of what you see at the aftermath of the Battle of Jakku, which I don't want to go into spoilers too much, but Starhawks are what brought that thing down. Well, Starhawks helped. It was totally a coordinated strike and a lot of tactics and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure that they're exactly twice the size, though. Where did I buy my Architons from? Brendan Lemaire is asking. Well, I bought them from Cool Stuff back when they first came out. I really liked the Architons right away, so I was buying them up left and right. And I usually don't wait. Like when stuff comes out, I usually buy at least 2 right away. For most cases, the Chimera I think is the only expansion I only have 1 of, and I might at some point get another Chimera. But that, like, they started to do pretty good, like as far as marketing or maybe not marketing, but as far as like trying to give the customers the best value. The Chimera is a heck of an expansion. You're getting a lot of stuff in 1 box, and I didn't even feel the need to buy more than 1 because they're giving you so much. And I buy multiples of everything. I've got like 5 CR90s, I've got 5 Architons, but I only bought 1 Chimera, so Chimera is a good buy. It is Thrindle. Blame me for there being no Architons. I bought mine early enough. I believe. Well, you know what? I'm going to pull it up right now because I think that they are being reprinted, and they may be available pretty soon. And that's a good thing. So while I put this. Oh, a side note. I pulled up the upcoming products list today, and there's another Legion expansion coming out in like 2 weeks. It's going to be the terrain expansion, the Priority Supplies Battlefield expansion. Goes live. It's supposed to launch the 12th of July. So definitely stay tuned for that. That one isn't a new, like, for the most part, it's just some terrain, but it has 3 new cards in it, so you're going to get a new deployment, a new objective, and a new condition. So that much is kind of cool. It'll change up your games a little bit, and those are fun ones too. Especially the landmines one. The landmines one, you're gonna like that one. Trust me, you're gonna like that one a lot. All right, where's the Architons? Let me just do Control F and search. No, oh, it's not called Architons. Alright, that's Quasar Squadron Packs. Yes, it is getting reprinted. And it was last updated in February, so it's probably going to be out pretty soon. The Architons will be hopefully out pretty soon. So I'm going to take a break from answering questions just for a minute, and I want to talk to you guys about Terranoth. So Terranoth is the worlds that FFG made in it for Descent and the Terranoth based games like Runebound, Rune Wars, New Heroes of Terranoth. It's like their own IP, right? And like I kind of asked this question in the Armada forums, for the FFG Armada forums, but it has me thinking, because there's a lot about Rune Wars that I liked, and I would have kept playing. I would still play Rune Wars now if it was more like Legion, right? Like if you didn't have to have those trays. Oh, those trays are terrible. But I love the idea of painting a medieval army and doing a war game that way, like a fantasy medieval army, especially one that FFG has all the rights to and doesn't have to wait for a license or approval. Because lately, Rune Wars has been getting update after update after update. They've been spitting them out like crazy, which is cool, especially a game with 4 factions. Because if you're on a budget and you want to stick to just one faction, then you don't have as much of an expense. But if you're like me and you're gonna go all in on a game that you like, the more stuff maybe the better. I certainly feel like that a lot of times. But what if they did more with this world of Terranoth? Like what if they? Part of me thinks like maybe they should do a Rune Wars 2.0. I don't know if that's justified or not, but if they did a 2.0, kept all the existing Rune Wars stuff and just said, all right, we're going to treat it like Legion now. You can keep all your same miniatures and just pop them out of the base and put them on the map and do it like Legion where they just move around on their own. I might start playing that again. The other thing is, what if they did an Armada version from Terranoth and it was like with boats? Boats. That would be... I would love that. I would love it if they did an Armada version of Terranoth with the actual ships. Because really, Armada's... It's not 3D space. It's not really, So what if you had ships? Big ships, small ships, fast ships, slow ships. You could even eventually think about like adding some flying units like Zeppelins or Dragons. Might be pretty cool. I would play it. Or I would give it a shot, especially if it used the Armada system, because Armada's system is really, really great. I don't know. All right. With the new spoiler for the Scum Falcon, do you think it's more useful? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's got a lot of potential. And there's like, one of the things that's cool is there's like multiple ways to fly it. You can, do this autopilot drone and launch it and have it blow up, or you can have Han trying to shoot through rocks. It's stress, with combining with like somebody else to stress people out, so Han gets to roll a ton of dice. I mean, if you can get somebody, like, I think if you're gonna fly the Falcon, maybe you'll want to use all debris clouds, so you have a better chance of stressing an opponent. And maybe you get like Han to like shoot at range 1 right through a debris cloud that somebody else landed on, and now they're stressed, and you're shooting through an obstacle, and you gave him trick shot, and now he's rolling like 5 dice. 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 dice from Han. And it'd be fun. Might be really fun. Yeah. Alright, how do you feel about Mel's miniatures? Obviously for casual play, not tournaments. Well, I will actually be able to answer that in about a week or two with a little bit better. I have not ordered anything from... Well, I have not received anything. I did order some stuff from Mel Miniatures just recently. So I will... When this stuff arrives, I will be doing some reviews. I bought stuff for a couple different games. So I will have I bought some Armada stuff and some Legion stuff from Mel. And it's in the printing phase, and it's going to be shipping out in like a week and I should have it in about a week and a half. But I'll be working Dice Tower Con, so like the week following, the 8th of July, I'll probably try to get some reviews and then maybe do some painting and do some content on Mel Miniatures. But I think it's great what he does, because it's nice knowing that even if a game were to get maybe discontinued, we could keep it going as a community. Speaking of keeping it going as a community, I've been working on an expansion for Armada. I've been working on it for a while. Here and there. I'm kind of busy, but and when I do have time, I'm working on this expansion. And so I'm going to start doing some previews for it on Patreon and getting some feedback from the patrons, because I need names for certain things, and because I'm really working on the mechanics of a lot of it, but I need people to help name things, and so I'll be looking to patrons for that. But that's a cool thing. But I'm not going to speak any more about that right now. All right, let's go some more questions. We're going to do this for a little bit longer, and then we're going to call it. All right. Have I seen the full pre-order only X-Wing damage deck with X-Wing picks? No. No, I have not. I didn't pre-order anything because I will be at Gen Con, and I'm going to be picking it all up there. And I would rather get it like a month early than get it like 2 days early. Sometimes you pre-order stuff from FFG and you get it like a day or two early, but I'd rather just get it a month early at Gen Con, because then I can start doing videos and battle reports and all this stuff like right away, because I've never been to Gen Con before, so I'm like super nervous and excited about going. Like, it's like the biggest con ever, and well, no, maybe not the biggest con, but the biggest board gaming convention, and it's huge. I mean, for somebody like me too, who covers all of these games, very, very huge. How long have I been collecting? I started in, I think 2014, 2013, no, probably about December, right after Christmas, 2013. So it's about 4 years. About 4 years I've been into. I started with X-Wing, and then started getting board games and everything else from there on. Yeah. A Halo game. Gaming Bob asks, it would be cool for FFG to make a Halo game. It's funny. I wonder if you if you've seen my community page on YouTube, because I actually asked some people today what was the one license they would like to see get made into a board game that they haven't, like which IP, intellectual property, or what universe do you want to see put onto like a quality board game? And Halo was actually suggested quite a bit by a lot of people. So that is that's exciting. Yeah, and for me, and I asked that because I actually wanted to start a dialogue. So for me, it's Thundercats. I probably have to say that Thundercats is #1. I really would love to see a quality Thundercats game, especially one with miniatures. And I don't know exactly how it would work. I don't know what kind of game it would be. I don't know if it would be like a 1v1 game, or everybody plays a different Thundercat, or everybody plays a mutant and they're trying to catch the Thundercats or something. But I just know that it would be cool in any game, whether it's a video game or a board game, to be Lion-O and to be like getting swarmed in by mutants, and to be able to say Thunder, Thunder, Thundercats, ho, summon the other Thundercats, and then Panther shows up in the Thunder Tank and runs over your enemies and saves you. That would be a cool moment, but you'd have to have more than that. You couldn't make the whole game depend on setting up that combo. So it might be tricky, but I would love to see Thundercats captured. It might work better as a video game, to be honest, like a solo video game, or maybe a cooperative video game. In Star Trek, I mean, there's lots of Star Trek games out there, but I would love to see an Armada Star Trek. That's because it feels to me like Armada should have been made for Star Trek. Their ships are a lot closer in proximity, so you could have like the smallest small ship would be something like the Defiant, and then an Oberth right next to that. So you could have your small ships. Then you could have your medium ships, like maybe a Miranda, maybe a Nebula, and then your larger ships, like maybe like your Enterprise E, your Sovereigns. I think it was a Sovereign, right? Yeah. But yeah, in your Romulan Diderodexes and your Klingon Vorchas or the Feklar class, oh man, so many. And you could have multiple factions, you could do alliances. I mean, honestly, do a lot of what Attack Wing did, but do it right and put it on the Armada system. But don't let you be like, oh, well, Picard's the captain of this Romulan ship. Like, no. Make sure that you keep the crews themselves. And Borg cubes, yeah, but play test them. Play test it first. A lot. and make it future-proof. FFG is learning a lot about future-proofing stuff. I would be okay with a game, like if they started putting more stuff on an app, like maybe Armada's going to have an app too. I'm okay with that. I'll feel bad because I really love Ryan Kingston's Fleet Builder. I feel so at home. That's like a comfortable place for me. I open that thing up, I'm like, oh, let's build some lists. I like building lists. And if they make it to where like I don't enjoy building lists anymore, like I really hope this app for X-Wing 2.0 is a fun app. I hope it's comfortable. Star Blazers, yeah, I never watched that growing up, but I know that it was very like that. I was very young, and like at the time that would have been going on, we only had like an antenna with 13 channels, and I don't think I got Star Blazers, so I kind of missed the boat on that one. Gundam, yeah, I can see a lot of people liking that. That would be. There are a lot of similar things. There's a lot of like I did this an unboxing of this game called GKR Heavy Hitters, Giant Killer Robots. You know, Samurai. The Samurai Mech game that I'm going to be having at Gen Con also. Starship Samurai. You know, a lot of these games are like Gundam. You know, Gundam was very, very popular. What ships do I think FFG won't resculpt as they push out for Wave 2.0? Okay, easy. The most recent ships. The U-Wing, for example, was not resculpted. I don't think any of the ships that have moving part, well, not any of the ships, because I think a Lambda could potentially use some work. I don't know if it needs a resculpt or just a new paint job, or maybe a slight resculpt, maybe like some deeper grooves to allow the wash to settle in a little bit better, because something about the Lambda always looked kind of cheap to me compared to a lot of the other ships. But I think there are certain ships that were just done really well. Like, I don't know if the Jump Master needs to be redone. I don't know if the Sick needs to, the M3A Interceptor, I don't know if that one needs to be redone. I don't know if any of like the Wave 12 and 13 stuff, I don't think a lot of that stuff needs to be redone. You know, like there are certain ones that really do, I think, need to be redone. And in Jeffrey Thomas, you got it exactly right. The HWK-29, it's at the top of my list. It needs to be a medium base, or at least just a larger sculpt. I think it should be a larger sculpt and possibly a medium base, or at least just a larger sculpt on a small base. I mean, if it needs to be on a small base, fine, I guess. But it's much too. That one's the most noticeable. I wouldn't mind also if they made the Houndstooth a little bit bigger. Wouldn't mind that either. And the Ghost, definitely want the Ghost to have the docking capability where you can put the Sheathipede or the attack shuttle in. Will they add the new A-Wing? Yeah, I'm sure. I think that's, like, you know, I did a Gen Con prediction for Armada. I'm probably going to do one of those for Legion and X-Wing also. Because, I'm pretty sure, with as much as they've announced for X-Wing, Gen Con will be an opportunity for them to like kind of show you the next wave of 2.0, and I think we can probably expect to see some more information on things that we are still awaiting. So we're awaiting First Order and Resistance, what's going to be their conversion kit. They're probably going to be new ships to be shown there. We might see that tie from Solo for the Empire. We may see something from the comics. In, you know, like the Poe Dameron comic has had a lot of ships. I don't know if there's been any new First Order like fighters, but it's also possible that some of those fighters we saw in The Last Jedi and the little hologram that DJ had, some of those might have been in use under the First Order, like the Interceptor and Bomber. So there could be First Order Interceptors and First Order Bombers. So there's a lot of different things they could do. Or they might hold off on First Order and Resistance until the show Resistance comes out, because that is likely going to have plenty of new technology, people, and crafts and things. Let's see. Let's go. If you want to get back into X-Wing and learn the new game, where should you start? Well, you should come to Dice Tower, and or Gen Con. We're gonna have Like these games are all going to be demoed at. The problem is, I mean, I have a rule book, right here, but the rules are not publicly available yet. I'm forbidden to share the rules with anybody. However, I can demo the game at the con, so there's like a fine line of where my freedom to talk about 2.0 kind of starts and stops. And so it's so I would love to just say, well, you know what, I'll make a video teaching you how to play 2.0 in detail. I can't quite do that yet. I know it will. This is going on early sale in August at Gen Con, so if you can hold out for about another month, just over a month, then all of that information will be publicly available. So hopefully I will have the opportunity to be the one to teach you 2.0. But I can't do it just now. Alright. Am I still going to be playing the first version of X-Wing? And what are my thoughts on Solo? Tom, this will be my last question. And the rest, you just can save them for right now, if you wouldn't mind. Alright, so am I still going to play X-Wing 1.0? No. There's a couple of reasons for that. I don't have a well, probably not. Probably not. The only reason I could think of to play it would probably be to play in Epic, which Epic is not supported in 2.0 yet. They did kind of hint that it would eventually be coming, but since Epic is not played that often, I think it's low priority, and it's something they'll get to eventually. That being said, let's I have other games that I need to focus my energies towards, and 2.0 is going to be a lot more relevant than 1.0. I'm not saying I'll never play 1.0. Like if find myself in a situation and that's something available and there's no better options, then I'll play a game. But one of the problems with going back and forth between very, very similar game systems is sometimes you get confused on the rules and you'll apply one game's rules to the other. I did this a lot when Armada first came out. Because Armada you move or you shoot and then move, but in X-Wing you move and then shoot. And so subtle things like that are easy to confuse and to screw up. So there was a lot of little, and so that's another reason why, like, once I start playing 2.0, that's it. Like, I'm not gonna go back to 1.0. And I don't think there's gonna be any new stuff for 1.0 either. So I don't think there's gonna be any news for me to bring subscribers. I don't think there's going to be anything for me to cover with regards to 1.0. If I am mistaken and FFG says, oh yes, we're also going to release all this new stuff for X-Wing 1.0, then I'll be the first to say, well, maybe I was wrong. Let's continue to cover 1.0. But realistically, there's no reason for them to do that. If they want you to buy 2.0, why would they sell, why would you sell two conflicting products at the same time? It's another reason why I don't know if Imperial Assault is really going to continue after this, for very much longer. I think Legion is kind of, I don't know, they're different enough, though. They, some people have pointed out, like, you have this narrative campaign in Imperial Assault, and so they are different, so maybe it'll keep going. I don't know, I just feel like they're too similar, because the scale is very similar. And my thoughts on Solo, honestly, it was a good movie. I just didn't like it. Like, that's the quickest way to say it. No, that's not accurate. It was a good movie. I just didn't love it. That's better. I did like it. I'll see it again. But I'll tell you this, it's the only Star Wars movie I only saw in the theater once. And the only reason, well, there's two reasons I didn't like it. Or didn't love it. Two reasons I didn't love it. Because I did like it. I did like it a lot. It was a lot of really good things in it, and I'll enjoy seeing it the second time whenever it comes out on Blu-ray or digital, and I buy it, and I will. I will enjoy it then too. I just don't like backstories. Generally, there are some times when a backstory is done really, really well, and I'm gonna love it. But I just don't like knowing that, oh, Han and Lando and Chewie are all in this movie. Oh, they're in danger. There's a giant space worm. Like, they're not in any danger. They're fine. The Millennium Falcon's fine. Chewbacca's fine. Han Solo's fine. Lando's fine. Don't try to tell me that they're in danger and expect me to care, because I know that they're going to be fine. That's, like, so I can't I like when a lot of other people, it doesn't bother them as much, and so I'm just different than a lot of people in that regards. Like, I want to watch something and expect that, oh, our hero is in danger, and I want to be on the edge of my seats thinking, oh my goodness, how is our hero going to get out of this? How is Wonder Woman going to stop this guy with a gun? And then she does it, and then you're like, yay, because I want to get into the story, like really into it. But not, for some people it's just a movie as a movie, but I want to watch it like with both eyes open. I mean that like as a figure of speech, but like when I watch TV shows with my wife will multitask. She'll like be on her laptop and watching TV at the same time, and I'm like, how can you do that? You need to watch and see every little detail because everything means something. Oh my god, and so that type of intensity that I watch a movie with, I feel like it's wasted on a story that I know that all the three characters that I care about are fine. I know exactly how they end up. Most of how they end up. That being said, me having that personality, I knew going into the movie that I probably wasn't going to like it. The only way I was going to like it is if like they killed Han Solo. Because of the fact that would tell me, oh my gosh, there's unexpected stuff is going to happen in this movie. Now I'd be on the edge of my seat wondering what's going to happen. But I can never be on the edge of my seat when I know. Imagine they made a movie and they said, oh, by the way, the hero dies at the end. So now let me tell you the story about this hero. You'd be like, well, okay, why'd you tell me? Why'd you ruin it for me? And so that's why. And then the other reason that I didn't love it is because I wanted to see like a bigger space battle. I wanted to see more capital ships, more starfighters, more space shooting, and it focused more with like the boots on the ground type of stuff rather than the pew 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 in space. So, and that's more of a nitpick than anything else. It told the story it needed to tell. It told it very well. And that rhymes, and it was good. It was good. Honestly, there was nothing really done poorly in the movie. I just didn't like the premise as a whole. I don't generally like backstories. And I could talk. I feel like I've said my point like 6 times in a row. Hey, what's going on, Call of Duty? You came in right at the end. Yeah, I got 2.0 early, but I can't do anything about it. It's for a convention. It's for a convention this weekend, and I've been kind of given the kibosh on actually reviewing it and doing videos on it and all this stuff. So it's here to remind you to come out to Dice Tower Con this weekend in Orlando, Florida, and you can get a demo of X-Wing 2.0. That's all I can say. That's all I can tell you. But that's okay. It's going to be fun. You're going to love it. All you guys are going to love it. So, I think that's going to do it, and I am going to go ahead and sign off. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I would like to encourage you to check out Patreon, and, you can get some, hopefully there'll be some early access stuff there for you. I got some other interesting videos to put up pretty soon. And within a month, hopefully, we'll have some X-Wing 2.0 content up on there and then up on YouTube. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.